I'm Max Lopez, and this is The Blue Wave, an excerpt from Melania Trump's new memoir, self-titled Melania, has surfaced online and shows a statement in the book that apparently shows that Melania Trump is pro-abortion rights and is pro-women making their own decisions when it comes to their pregnancy and not wanting government interference in women making that decision. So let's go ahead and read this excerpt from Melania Trump's book, which is set to come out on October 8th. It says, or she says, "It is imperative to guarantee that women have autonomy in deciding their preference of having children based on their own convictions, free from any intervention or pressure from the government," the Republican nominee's wife writes, amid a campaign in which Donald Trump's threats to women's reproductive rights have played a central role. Why should anyone other than the woman herself have the power to determine what she does with her own body? A woman's fundamental right of individual liberty to her own life grants her the authority to terminate her pregnancy if she wishes. Restricting a woman's right to choose whether to terminate an unwanted pregnancy is the same as denying her control over her own body. I have carried this belief with me, throughout my entire adult life. Okay, great. That's great you believe all that. It's great to hear that Melania Trump is on the side of 60 to 65%, depending on which poll you're looking at, of Americans that are pro-abortion rights. But here's the thing, Melania, that's exactly what we had with Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade, decided by the Supreme Court all the way back in 1972 or 74. Don't quote me on the specific year. I'm bad with the specific years sometimes. That's exactly what we had. We had a law in Roe v. Wade that established that states cannot infringe on a woman's right to choose whether or not to get an abortion, right? Where we were a country where no matter what state you lived in, no matter how red it was, no matter how much people disagreed with your decision to terminate your pregnancy, if you are a woman that was going to do that, no matter how much people disagreed with you and thought that that was a sin or a bad thing, you had the right to get access to an abortion no matter where you were in this country. So why is it that we should go from that to something where what kind of access to healthcare you have and whether or not you have access to an abortion is based on the geography of where you live in this country? Somebody needs to tell Melania Trump that it was her husband who appointed the Supreme Court justices, Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, and Neil Gorsuch, who overturned Roe v. Wade in a historical 5-4 decision, the Dobbs decision, right? And we've seen what's happened ever since the Dobbs decision, where American voters have resolutely rejected restrictions on abortion rights, and all over the country. In Kentucky, they had a special election, right? Where Kentucky is one of the reddest states in the whole country, but has a Democratic governor, interesting enough, Andy Beshear. But the ballot resolution to codify abortion into state law overwhelmingly won, right? In Kentucky. So voters are already on board with what Melania Trump is saying here overwhelmingly, but it was Donald Trump who overturned Roe v. Wade and who took that right away from people in this country. And it's just some hard to wrap your head around the hypocrisy here. And it's hard to imagine that Melania Trump is making this statement for any other reason other than that the Republicans are looking at the same polling data on abortion and are scared of backlash from women voters, suburban women, Black women, and men, as a matter of fact, who have women in their lives who care about their rights and want to have them be able to decide if they are going to get an abortion or not. It's hard to imagine that Melania Trump would be making this statement for any other reason than Republicans are scared of backlash from voters, because we've already seen it, as I already mentioned, in various special elections throughout this country. Where was Melania Trump with this statement when Roe v. Wade fell? Where were the Republicans that are all of a sudden aghast at how the Republican Party has treated reproductive rights in this country, such as J.D. Vance suddenly taking this empathetic tone towards women who weren't able to receive reproductive health care, and looking into the camera and saying, we need to do better on this, and the American people don't trust us on this. It's hard to imagine any of this would be happening at all if they weren't just scared shitless of losing power and losing losing this election, right? And losing the White House, losing the House, and not gaining back the Senate. So the American people should really look at the track record of what the Republican Party has done to abortion rights in this country, right? Way before the Dobbs decision. Let me remind you, Republicans have sought at every single step of the way to take away abortion rights from people in this country. And it was the carrot that was dangling on the end of the stick that kept a lot of people, I think, that otherwise wouldn't support the Republican Party and wouldn't have anything to do with any of the other Republican Party's policies, but maybe single issue voters for religious reasons, for personal reasons, that have stayed with the Republicans on the issue of abortion. The carrot was dangled on the stick in front of these people for decades and decades and decades. In fact, various legal apparatuses were formed in the Reagan years and even before that, that basically brought up this whole generation of lawyers in the GOP that basically were trained to take down abortion rights. And when you have the carrot that's dangling on the stick in front of people for decades and decades, and you finally get that carrot off of the stick, it's a situation where it's the dog that doesn't know what to do with the car that it caught in its mouth somehow. And now that the carrot has been bitten off of the stick, the Republicans are going, oh crap, there's a whole bunch of backlash to that carrot, not just being on the stick, but actually being cut off and not being able to dangle that in front of certain GOP voters and retain their support. That's gone away, but also you have a whole bunch of people who are very much so suffering the consequences and the repercussions of that carrot not being a hypothetical anymore, but actually being a real life situation where women are not able to access reproductive health care in many instances, you know, you have the Republicans doing a about face on this issue where this is not what they want people to be going into the ballot box thinking about, is the history that the Republican Party has had when it comes to reproductive rights. And it's why they have to, you know, fearmonger about immigrants in Springfield stealing people's dogs and cats and eating them, and stealing geese from the zoo, and just all this crazy crap that's made up and not happening, because the real consequences that the Republican Party has bestowed upon the American people, they don't want people talking about that or thinking about that. And they're trying to do a bit of, you know, this is Melania Trump here trying to do a bit of revisionist history as to the Republican stance on abortion rights. And I'll just say again, you know, where was Melania Trump on the day that Roe fell? Where was this statement? I hope the American people can see through this for what it is, as a bunch of political grandstanding, lies, frankly, about what the GOP actually implements when it comes to reproductive health care. And yeah, I hope people can see through this, and I hope people can know that the only party in the United States of America that has sought to expand reproductive health care and then retain reproductive health care and retain the right for a woman to access abortion and terminate her pregnancy if she so chooses. It's been the Democratic Party. That's been the party that's fought for that. And if you are somebody who wants women to have access to abortions in this country, then I implore you to vote blue, straight ticket blue in this upcoming election. So that's all I got for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with somebody who's into politics. It helps YouTube take my channel more seriously and get the word out to more and more people. So that's all I got for you guys. Until the next video, take care. Peace.